Hello. In this video, we're going to go through learning targets 723 and 724, which is about the surface area and volume of 3D figures. And in the Google Meet, we are going to go through like a Desmos to do this so that you can see the picture and kind of like take notes next to it. If you are watching the video, you're going to have to pause it and draw each figure so that you can have the figure along with the words. And then when we do examples, the figure along with the examples. So we're going to start by talking about two types of 3D figures, prisms and cylinders. And prisms have two parallel bases. So you can see like the ones in red, these are parallel to each other. Imagine like the floor and the ceiling with rectangular bases. So the base can be like any shape as long as they match. So I guess I'm going to add equal parallel bases. So these ones happen to be triangles, but you could have like a square on the bottom, a rectangle on the bottom, an octagon on the bottom. As long as they match bottom and top, you can have any shape, but the sides are always going to be rectangles. So you can see they're just going to be rectangles connecting the side to the side. They're always named by the base. So for example, this one is going to be a triangular prism. If the bases are rectangles, it'd be a rectangular prism. If the bases are hexagons, it would be a hexagonal prism. So you name it based on the base. You're not really going to be naming them yourself, but if I ask you, like, what is the volume of a rectangular prism, you'll need to know that the bottoms are rectangles. So then a cylinder is a type of prism, so you can see they look really similar. The only difference is cylinder is really specific. It has a circular base. And cylinders come up a lot in real life. I'm sure you can look around wherever you are and see examples of cylinders, things like pop cans or like paper towel rolls, etc. So then we're going to find the surface area and the volume. We're going to do the formulas for each. And you're not going to need to memorize them, but you are going to need to recognize which one is which. So on a test, you're going to be given a bank of formulas and you need to know what goes with what. So surface area and volume are a little bit weird of formulas. So surface area, we can imagine if we're trying to find the area of a 3D figure, we need to find the area of all of the shapes, the top, the bottom, and then all the sides. So in order to do that, you are going to find the area of the base twice. So 2 and then capital B. And capital B represents the area of the base. Not just the base, so not just like the length of it or something, the entire area of the base. So if the base is a triangle, you have to find the area of the triangle. And then we're going to add to that the area of all the sides. And to easily find that, you can multiply the perimeter by the height. So capital P is the perimeter of the base. And then H is the height. So B and P are capitalized, so you know that they're related to the base. So capital B is area of base and capital P is perimeter of base. And then volume, to find that, it's just going to be capital B, so the area of the base, times the height. So we're going to do a few examples, and it's going to kind of be like, I'll do an example, then you'll try one of a similar shape. We're going to do a different shape. We'll end up doing 3 examples and 3 tries. So the first thing I like to do is I like to figure out what all of these parts are. So perimeter, base, and height. So perimeter of the base, my bases are going to be parallel. And in rectangular prisms, it doesn't really matter what your bases are because all of the opposite sides are parallel to each other. But to make things easy, I like to just make the bottom and the top bases. And so the perimeter, we're going to add up all the sides. So 8 plus 6, and then we know in a rectangle the opposite sides are the same. So 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 6. We can use a calculator to type that in really quickly. And we get 28. Now I want to find the area of the base. And my base is a rectangle, so it's just going to be my base times height, or length times width. So 8 times 6. Which is 48. And then my height is always going to be one of the sides connecting the base to the base. So 15 is my height. And now I have all my pieces, so I can use my surface area and volume formulas. So for surface area, we have two bases, so 2 times 48 plus the side, so the perimeter, which is 28, times the height, which is 15. And you can type this whole thing into your calculator using parentheses. And we get 516. So I'm going to go ahead and write this down here because there's a space for me to do that. 516. And I want to make sure we have our units. So area is always units squared. So we have yards squared. Now volume is just the area of the base times height. So B times H. So we have 48 times 15. $720. So our volume is 720. And volume is yards cubed. So area is squared, volume is cubed. So I want you to pause it and do this one right next to it. And then when you come back to it, the answers will be on the paper. So I have my answers on here along with all my work for you to check out. So feel free to pause it and check it out if you would like. But I'm going to move on to the next problem. So again, if you need to pause it to draw the figure, please do so. But this time we have triangles. And remember, the bases are parallel to each other. So the bottom is no longer a base because there's not a matching top. The bases are this front triangle and this back triangle. And so again, I want to find all my pieces first. So P is the perimeter of the base. And these are my bases. So I'm going to add up 16 plus 12 plus 20. So I get 48. Then I want to find the area of the base, so capital B. And area, this one is a triangle, so we're going to have to do 1/2 base times height. So 1/2 of 12 times 16. which gives me 96. And then my height is what connects my two bases, so that is 10. It's also the only number you haven't used yet. So you've used these three. The height should be the only thing left. Now let's plug those into our surface area and volume formulas. So surface area, we have 2 of the bases plus the perimeter times the height. Well, my area, my base is 96. My perimeter is 48. And my height is 10. Plug all that in to get 672. And this is in centimeters squared because it's surface area. Now volume is the area of the base times height. So we have 96 times 10. Which gives us 960 centimeters cubed. So with triangles, just make sure you don't forget to find the area of the base, you have to do 1/2 base times height. So why don't you pause it and do the one right next to it and then come back and see my work. So I have my answers on here. You can pause it and look at them, but I do want to mention that remember, if you're not given the third side in a right triangle, you can use the Pythagorean theorem to find it. So to do that work, you would do 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. And then go ahead and solve that to get that third side is 13. Now we got one more shape to do, and that's the cylinder. And so again, we're going to start by finding the perimeter and the area of the base and then the height. So perimeter of the base, this is the one that gets really confusing. So I've been saying this, but hopefully you have like this connection in your brain. But the perimeter of a circle is the circumference. Those are the same thing. So we can say like perimeter is the circumference. Circumference is on the outside, so is perimeter. So we're asking for the perimeter of the base, which the base is one of these circles. So this is a base and this is a base. We need to actually find the circumference. So we're going to use the circumference formula, 2 pi r. And remember, if this is 11, to find the radius, we cut that in half, which is 5.5. And we can plug all of that into a calculator. So 2 times pi times 5.5 gives me 34.6. Then the base is pi r squared. So to find the area of the base, it's pi r squared. So pi r squared gives me 95.0. And my height connecting my two bases is 7. So then we can go ahead and find our surface area doing 2 times the base plus the perimeter times the height. Set up like this. And we can type that in and see what we get. And then volume would be set up base times height. So we have 95 times 7. So I'm going to type those both in the calculator really quickly so I don't run out of time. We get 432.2. And for volume, we get 665. And I was running out of time, so I just put the answers for this second one so you can pause it and look at those as well.